I've always had this belief since I was little that every single one of us is born with a unique set of gifts and talents that only we can give the world. So I believe our world will transform significantly when every single one of us realizes that the world really does need the special gift that only we have. So to see people wake up to that, to know that it's already in them, they don't have to do anything or be anyone different to just express that, I think we'd go a long way. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between fear and intuition? Like fear, a fear that you should actually move through. It's an opportunity for you to grow. It's something that you actually want to do, but you're just afraid of failing. Or what if it's your intuition telling you this is the wrong move? So what I like to do is I give people a very simple test, how to decipher the difference between that fear and intuition. Here's how it works. I try and check myself before I wreck myself. I go, there's gonna come a day where you're gonna flash back on this moment and wished that you just gave him a hug, or wished that you went in and said, I love you. It's coming for all of us. So if you can remember that now, you change everything. When I first started as a business person, I was 23 years old, and I was so insecure. In my mind, starting a life coaching business as a 23-year-old, like the logical part of my mind was like, who the hell is gonna hire a 23-year-old life coach? This is the dumbest, silliest, stupidest thing you've ever tried in your life. And I had been on Wall Street, I'd worked in the magazine industry, I'd done all these things and basically hit all these different walls. I felt like I didn't fit in. I was trying to live into this idea of who I thought a businesswoman would be, and it was lifeless. I wasn't getting anywhere because I wasn't being me. And I'm just a girl from New Jersey who was brought up in a very, kind of normal middle-class way. No one in my family ever went to college. And I was trying to fit myself into this idea of who I thought I should be, and it wasn't working. So it wasn't until I actually allowed myself to just be the weird, wacky, energetic, kind of a little bit crazy person that I am, that things actually started to work. And so now it's been almost 20 years of doing this, and I've seen it time and time again, where people tend to feel stuck and stifled, where they tend to feel like their life force is just drained out of them. There gets to be despair and depression. They just feel stuck, is when they're not expressing the fullness of who they really are. They're trying to fit themselves into a conventional box. They're trying to live up to other people's expectations. They're trying to be someone who they really aren't because they're afraid that the real them is going to get rejected. In that pleading in my journal and writing, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I fit in? Why can't I follow all the traditional ideas of what it means to be successful? I got to a point where I just said, fuck it. I can't do this. I can't. I was failing. I was miserable. And I said, if I'm not going to be able to fit into this traditional notion of success, why don't I throw out the whole notion together and just do what I really want to do? At that point, I was about 25, and I said to myself, you've always wanted to dance. You've never taken a dance class in your life. I took my very first dance class at Broadway Dance Center. I had the dorkiest outfit on. I remember standing outside class, and the class before was finishing up, and my jaw just hit the ground because everyone in there was so talented. They were so good. I was so intimidated, and I felt this panic come over me. Cut to me going into the class, hiding in the back, getting down on the floor to start the warm-up, and the music came on. About 7 seconds in, I started sobbing uncontrollably. And once I finally kind of started moving, I realized my body was saying, yes, this is who you are. This is part of who you're meant to be. Because I tried so hard doing everything everyone else told me I should do. And when that didn't work, I just had to go off and bust out on my own. And it was through that experimentation and moving my body and tapping into the wisdom of this vessel that everything started to move. And then I just understood too, from an experiential level, how much wisdom we have in our bodies. And at the same time, culturally, we were starting to spend more and more time on our computers, and then devices started to come into play, cell phones. And I just watched as how so many people started living from the neck up. and started losing touch with their intuition, that inner voice, the very innate wisdom that each of us are born with. They just didn't know how to access it. So for me, in terms of tapping into your body, in terms of movement and incorporating all of these different modalities into how you figure out your life, it's become second nature to me. But I think now more than ever, it's so important that we reconnect to this thing so we can hear our truth.
Walk people through how to reconnect. What does that process look like?
First of all, it taps into slowing down. We're all moving so fast. We want the answer instantly. We're always going up here. So I think step one is to slow down and actually breathe and feel your body. You know, if you're someone who works out even, you may not be that practiced at doing this. You know, if you go to the gym and you bang out your reps, or you're doing squats, or you're hitting a class where it's just go, you may not be actually feeling the physiological signals that come through your body. So I always like to frame it like this. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between fear and intuition? Like fear, a fear that you should actually move through. It's an opportunity for you to grow. It's something that you actually want to do, but you're just afraid of failing. Or what if it's your intuition telling you this is the wrong move? It's hard to decipher that sometimes. So what I like to do is I give people a very simple test how to decipher the difference between that fear and intuition. Here's how it works. You have to slow down. You can close your eyes if you can and ask yourself, in terms of the opportunity you're thinking about saying yes to, when you imagine yourself saying yes or moving forward with this idea or this person in your body, in the nanosecond you ask the question, how do I feel about this? Do you feel yourself expand or contract? This is a tiny micro movement of feeling within you. Expansion might feel like lightness, joy, excitement, fun, all of those feelings where you almost perceive your body moving forward in space ever so slightly. Contraction, think about it in terms of dread, despair. Something in you is saying no. There's a heaviness, a pit in your stomach. Even if that opportunity, even if that idea or that person that asked you something on paper, it sounds like you should say yes, but something in you is like pulling back, that's your no. So it's a really great way to help people train themselves to tap into their inborn wisdom that's already within them, that's working to guide them on their best path. You know, if I ever feel like in any moment life is not going the way that I think it should be going, it's because I'm resisting what is. You know, if someone didn't turn in their work on time and I'm just like, you know, getting that way, or something didn't come out right, or the delivery doesn't come, or the technology breaks again, we can list anything in that slot, right? It's me arguing with reality. I'm making myself miserable in that moment because I'm choosing to argue with what is. That's always a losing proposition. So the more awareness I can bring to that and go like, is this really how you want to live your life in this moment, Marie? Because every single moment, as you know, sets you up for the next moment. And you string these moments together and guess what? You have your life until we get to that incredible deathbed. We never know when that's coming. So every single moment is an opportunity for us to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. And so I just try and play the game. If I'm miserable, if I'm upset, if I'm angry, if I'm cranky, it is my responsibility because it's based on what I'm thinking or believing in that moment. It's not the outside world causing me to feel this. It's what I'm doing up here that's making me have that reaction. And if I'm the problem, I am also the solution. The fact that your energy gets embedded into your communications, we all know that, right? Like you've received the email that's curt and you can just almost feel the punch in the face that comes through. You've gotten the text where you're like, they are definitely pissed at me. I believe, and I do this a lot with email marketing, especially in our business, every time I sit down to write a new email, I want the other person who receives this email, to the best of my ability, to feel the love and the energy and the respect and the excitement that I have, not only for the idea that I'm about to share, but for the impact it could have on their life. I want them to feel all. You know, if I'm sitting there writing an email and I'm like just feeling flaccid, I mean, what's that copy going to be like? It's not going to be any good. But if I'm there and I'm like playful and I'm excited about it, so that excitement is conveyed. And when someone's looking through their inbox and they see something from me, 9 times out of 10, because I'm consistent, they know if they click open, it's going to be a good time. An important thing to remember is that everyone is always doing the very best they can. Always. So whatever behavior has happened, whatever the situation is, you have to know that that person innocently was doing the best that they could given who they were in that moment, what they were believing, and what they were thinking. You don't know if they were scared. You don't know if they have a ton of stress going on. You don't know if they have a health scare. You don't know a lot. But all you do know is that every single person is doing the very best they can in each moment. So if you can bring that level of understanding and compassion and try and take on their point of view, it relaxes things. Because, right, you're not trying to be an asshole. Sometimes people think you're an asshole, but you're not trying to be. You were doing the best you could in that moment. Were you perfect at it? Maybe not, but I know I was doing the best that I could. I think that we honestly don't think about our own mortality enough. I think death is one of those taboo kind of topics in our culture, and we don't really face it. We don't think about it. We don't talk about it enough. We don't imagine ourselves dying enough. We don't really just dive in. And one of the weird little tricks that I use on myself, especially when I'm just being horrible in my own relationship, or I'm being not the person I know I'm capable of being, I'm having a temper tantrum, I'm stressed, I'm just being an ass, whatever it is. I've used this in my relationship with Josh, where I will literally fast forward to the point where, like, I imagine him laying in a coffin and me going, why were you such an asshole? Why didn't you take that time? Why did you let that fight go on for 4 hours or a day or whatever it is? Or in those moments where I feel myself tightening up or shutting down or withholding love, I try and check myself before I wreck myself. I go, there's going to come a day where you're going to flash back on this moment and wished that you just gave him a hug, or wished that you went in and said, I love you. It's coming. For all of us. So if you can remember that now, you change everything. And it will stop you from being being in a temper tantrum. And you can use that same notion. Again, some people might say this is incredibly morbid. I say it's incredibly inspiring. I say if you can use it to wake yourself up out of that slumber of staying in your temper tantrum, or being pissed at your parents, or pissed at your friends, or pissed at someone who, again, if you can see them as an innocent doing the best that they possibly could with whatever tools and understanding and beliefs and thoughts that they had in that moment, you can find a way to transcend, to reconnect to your heart, and to be that love that you really are. I've always had this belief since I was little that every single one of us is born with a unique set of gifts and talents that only we can give the world. So the impact that I want to have is, I believe our world will transform significantly when every single one of us realizes that the world really does need the special gift that only we have. So to see people wake up to that, to know that it's already in them, they don't have to do anything or be anyone different to just express that, I think we go a long